You are Hamish Benjamin.
I'm a recording engineer and producer, and I play music with people sometimes. I like to think of it as kind of an archive of recording techniques and the personalities of these people who recorded a lot of classic records. One of the most famous would be Butch Vig, who did like Nirvana and Sonic Youth and Smashing Pumpkins. Did some of the Motown producers. Did Ken Scott, who recorded the White Album and a lot of the early Bowie albums. About 50 other people.
So that aspect I'm interested in, you know, because you are how old?
21.
21. Why would you be interested in the arcane recording techniques of something like the White Album or making Motown hit singles?
I mean, the recording techniques haven't really changed a great deal over 50 years, 60 years. The equipment's a bit different, but the basic techniques are pretty much the same, and a lot of people now want the equipment that they were using back then originally.
Because, I mean, you're aware that this used to be a legendary thing. Like, hey, we're cutting an album at Trident. You know, when my first professional recording was at Basin Street Studios. And these places had like a totemic value.
I mean, it's partly that back then the microphones were further away, so you could hear more of the room. And now everything's generally moved closer, so the room is less important. But you've got to bear in mind a lot of classic songs of the 60s, especially, were all recorded in probably the same, like, 3 or 4 rooms. And a lot of the time the same musicians in those rooms. But also you've got to bear in mind that, like, Sun Studios, where a lot of the most classic records ever made, most people who go there think it's a bit of a crap sounding room, and it's kind of made in spite of that.
Okay, so I just want to flip that forward now into, okay, so you're into old school mic placement, you're not that concerned about a room. Where do you record now?
Well, I am quite concerned about a room, but I generally either do it, well, I've got a portable recording setup, so there's a hall nearby that I do a lot of recording in, which is kind of, in size, it's kind of like Abbey Road Studio 2 if you've been there. There's a hall nearby that I do a lot of stuff in that's like that for the kind of bigger, like live bands and orchestral stuff, and then I've got a little studio in Central Lewes.
Oh, what local acts have you been recording recently?
Local acts.
Because this is the Lewes Ripple, so we don't go too far outside of town.
I did, just for lockdown, I did K-Burn, which Daryl from Union, that's his band. I think I've done some bands that rehearse here at Starfish, Sweet Onions. I think I'm doing something with Manatees soon, who also rehearse here. Doing something with, I think they're called the Heavy Goats, they change their name all the time. Yeah, I was going to say Dead Man's Wood.
Starfish Studios, the legend. What was your initial connection to Starfish? How did you...
Well, I joined Starfish when I was 12, 13, and kind of use it as a rehearsal space once a week, and they kind of help you along and mentor you a bit, which is what I used to do for some young kids.
And also a place where you can make really loud music without pissing your parents off.
Yeah, exactly.
I know your dad very well. He is Nick Benjamin, and he is a guitar maker and a fixer of stuff. I know that if I have anything to ask about stuff, amps, guitars, I will just ask Nick. He's also, I should say, he's a damn good guitar player, and nowadays a bass player in my band, The Chain Gang. It's been good to talk to you. If people want to know more about what you do and podcast type thing, where would they look?
My website is somewhere-studios.com.
Well, we'll manage to put that up, I'm sure. We want to thank you, and God bless it.
Thank you.